influential. It's almost like a feudal system, where feudal lord, has a bunch of property and everybody gets to live, under the love and the care of the feudal head or the governor or whatever you want to call him.
Yeah.
And the powers that be felt that my position was undesirable, that they did not want to have that influence in their jurisdiction. So they came over and zapped me, knocked me unconscious, and threw me onto Earth. And I've been here ever since. Now, one thing they weren't able to extinguish was my skeptical, non-conforming creative nature. And as a result of that, no matter what kind of garbage they hit me with, electronic garbage, and they hit me with a lot, one of the things they hit me with is like, imagine two lightning bolts. Imagine you being right in the center, two lightning bolts come in and hit you and keep going, boom, boom, boom. Now, lightning bolt is, 5 or 10 times hotter than the surface of the sun, and they zap you right in there. And while they're zapping you, they're giving you the command, forget, 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 forget. Remember, 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 remember to forget, remember to forget. So you try to remember, you forget more. It's like a rubber band, you can't get away from it. Well, what can you remember? I don't know. I must have forgot it. Dang, I wonder where that came from. Well, that's some of the commands in the implanted information. So I've been working on the exact nature of the implant, and what the tie downs to the immortal would possibly be. The tie downs to the immortal that would keep him locked in and not know. Now, why is it they wouldn't want you to know? Because if you knew, you could remember, you might do something. Which, you're right, you would. So there are a lot of great geniuses here on this planet, but they're kept from going to full godlike power, which is basically who we are. They're kept from that by these electronic implants. Now, a feeling like if you ever got drunk and got dizzy and fell down on the floor and threw up, it's kind of like the feeling of the implant. Or if you ever stuck your finger in a light socket and got shocked, it's like a cross between that and or if you ever turned around in a circle enough till you got dizzy and then threw up. It's those things that are completely detestable, utter state of confusion to the being and to the body. If you connect to it, it could make you really, really, really sick to your stomach. So you think, well, that wasn't a good thing to be thinking about. Well, that's the way they want you to think. So this is a little rebellious, and it's a little off the track. But that's the current. See, the thing that we ran with the power wash was to wash all kinds of stuff like this away and take you out beyond the electronic force fields. These fields, they're fields that they set up, electronic fields, and to take you out beyond that so that you'd at least be clean enough you could have some maneuverability, and it works. But unless you go directly to the point, you won't get it. You say, well, when I die, it'll all come back to me. Yeah, it will. But the thing is for how long? Split second? For a split second? Well, the problem is that it's not just chains on the body, it's chains on the spirit. So they actually chain the spirit down with their electronics. And First time I ran into this was about 50 years ago, and I was repetitively cleaning up unpleasant pains and sensations and the emotions and attitudes associated that I could feel on my body. And I came up with one, and as I took it earlier similar to find where it's come from, I ran into an electronic implant. It was like an atom bomb exploding, except it was all electricity. And it completely overwhelmed me at the time. And that was 50 years ago, about 50 years ago. And that is when I first come into contact with the thing. After that, I went down and lowered frequency to start cleaning up things that, getting castrated in China, 5,000 years ago, getting beheaded, to clean up the itchy dryness in my eyes from after they cut off my head. It rolled in the dirt, and I got dirt in my eyes. Things like that. I spent a lot of time cleaning that type of crazy shit out. But it was the electronics to begin with that I knew was the key. And it's so far away from anything virtually on the internet, even the parapsychology stuff.
Yeah.
This is like something you have never heard anything.
This is like light years away.
Yeah, it's
you're saying you're writing a book to help.
Well, what I'm doing right now is I'm researching the buttons that are holding the tent in place. In other words, the tent stakes. And I've got them, as many as I can pull out, that I got it. And then what I'll do is I'll desensitize each one. Now, that doesn't mean that the person that comes in contact with what I put out will have access to it. Because as it is, people don't even have access to the power wash. They can't get past the first page. They'll flip through and look at a couple of pictures and close it. Nobody reads books. It's not going to show up. You stick it on YouTube and you get 6 people that watched it. Did they actually do the whole thing? Well, only one of them made a comment. I think that was me. Tell everybody to make comments,
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I grew a new teeth when I did this. Something.
Well, you're right. We live in a world. It's like a prison universe and a prison planet and a prison system, and people are prisoning themselves into their homes, into their TVs. And we're so lazy that a lot of people don't even want to work for the truth. They're like, I'm okay.
Well, yeah.
I mean, some of us want to break through, but I feel, I don't know, compared to the masses, those are probably small numbers.
Well, you go back to China and the Tao, Laozi, and the story is he was leaving China, and the gatekeeper recognized him and says, "Oh, please don't go until you've shared your wisdom with us." So he wrote the Tao, spelled Tao, and in there's several verses that describe very specifically how all that is created from no thing or nothing. And it's only through understanding that in fact is the source, that we're basically immortal no things, to understand how the galaxies and the universe was created. It wasn't necessarily one guy. There's groups of people